Hi, our topic about distance and displacement. Let's begin. Consider the situation: the dog ran towards the dog bone, which is 3 meters away from it. After getting the bone, it went into the dog house to bury the bone. Question: how far did the dog travel? There are actually two ways to answer the question. First is by getting the distance, and the other one is by getting the displacement of the dog. Distance is the total length of the actual path traveled by the object, regardless of the direction of the movement. Therefore, distance is a scalar quantity. On the other hand, displacement is the shortest path between the initial and final position of an object. It can be considered as an imaginary straight line path between the initial and final position of an object. In contrast with distance, displacement is a vector quantity because it takes into consideration the direction traveled. So to answer how far did the dog travel, if we consider the distance traveled, it would be equal to the distance from the dog to the bone, which is 3 meters, plus the distance between the bone and the dog house, which is 3 meters plus 5 meters. Considering the distance, the dog traveled a total of 11 meters. On the other hand, if we consider the displacement of the dog, to answer how far the dog traveled, we need to consider the length of a straight line path between the dog and the dog house, which the direction of travel. Considering the displacement, the dog traveled 5 meters to the right. Why did we consider the length between the dog and the bone to get displacement? It is because the length traveled by the dog going to the bone is equal to the length traveled going back to its initial position but in opposite direction, thus canceling each other's value. To get the displacement, we consider only the length of the straight line path between the dog's initial and final position. This is also the shortest path between the initial and final position. To sum up everything, distance is the total length of the actual path traveled, does not consider direction, and it is a scalar quantity. Displacement, length of the shortest path between the initial and final position. Displacement is an imaginary straight line path between the initial and final position, and it considers the direction. It is a vector quantity. So thank you so much. This is the end of the presentation.